Yo, nah, you're not ready for this one. Nicki Minaj just broke the internet without even showing up. While Beyoncé got caught in a Photoshop scandal, Cardi B got dragged into the worst dress graveyard, and Megan Thee Stallion is allegedly loading the legal cannon at Klay Thompson. Rihanna and ASAP? Caught on camera looking like the love is leaking. And Latto really thought she was eating with that little chart entry? Brew picked the worst week to flex on the wrong sister. Before we start, this is Melanin Scope Media. Hit like, subscribe, don't miss what's coming. Anika Tanya Miraj Petty, Nicki Minaj herself, just became the most searched female rapper on Google in a 24-hour window during the 2026 Met Gala, hitting a peak interest score of 100 with a 600% activity surge, all without stepping foot on that carpet. Meanwhile, Beyoncé Gazelle Knowles Carter got hit with double-chin Photoshop allegations. Belcalis Almanza, Cardi B, got cooked for her Marc Jacobs Met look, and Megan Thee Stallion, is allegedly weighing legal action against Klay Thompson over emotional distress. The opposition really thought Met Gala week was their week. Now let's open the receipts that show why every single one of these moves backfired. Let's open the file, because the quotes in this drama are wild. Starting with Megan Thee Stallion. In her recent Entrepreneur magazine cover story, Meg got vulnerable in a way her music never lets her. I was forced to be independent. Nobody going to help me. Nobody going to give me anything. I'm the first person in my family to be a millionaire. She kept going. I come from a lot of teachers. My uncle was in the military. These are real necessary jobs. I think I'm the first person in my family to say, I want to be a musician. I'm going to go for it. And then she dropped this. I know what it feels like to struggle. I know what it feels like to not be so sure about what's going to happen tomorrow. I know what it feels like to want something so bad and you're not sure if you're going to get it, but you keep working for it. When I read that, I felt every word. Real talk. That's the realest Megan has sounded in years. But then we got the other Megan storyline. The Klay Thompson cheating allegations, and one of her hottest went viral with this clip. I would have rather been cheated on than Megan Thee Stallion be cheated on, because that sounds crazy, but I just feel like I would have taken that for her than for her to deal with that on top of everything else in life she's already dealt with. Bro said what? Volunteering as tribute for a celebrity who don't know your government name? That's the dumbest flex I've ever heard. When I heard this I had to rewind 3 times to make sure my ears worked. Klay really thought slidden off script was free real estate. Huh? Bro picked the worst possible woman to play with publicly. Onto Nicki Minaj. According to Google Trends data circulating across hip-hop blogs, the line was, Nicki Minaj led as the most searched female rapper on Google over the past 24 hours, hitting a peak interest score of 100 and surging by more than 600% in activity despite not attending the Met Gala. On top of that, the official report on her Justin Bieber collab read, Beauty and a Beat has been at #1 on global Spotify for 20 days, and the song has become #1 on the Billboard 200 global chart, becoming Bieber's third and Nicki Minaj's first #1 hit. When I saw that 600% surge with 0 Met Gala steps, I was like, yo, that's not influence, that's gravity. The girls really walked the carpet for Nicki to outshine them from her couch. Then the Cardi B situation. The viral consensus on her Met Gala look read, the former exotic dancer is being compared to rectums and keloids after receiving a 66% disapproval rate online. 66%, brew. That's the kind of number you only see attached to a politician nobody asked for. Cardi later defended the look as fashion is art. Nah Cardi, you can't say it's art and expect us to take you seriously when the lace looking like it's holding back a wound. And Beyoncé, after the carpet, the Met Gala photo dump set the comments on fire. Fans were openly typing Bey is editing her double chin again, and Lil Kim slander started trending right alongside it as folks said, Lil Kim Photoshop be way more extreme. She be having this anime character looking face. When I read those comments I was like, okay y'all are not being fair to Mrs. Carter. You're ready to crucify a woman for aging like a regular human being. That's where the conversation lost the plot. Now that we got the quotes, let's connect the dots. Here's where it gets juicy, because nobody is reading the calendar right. That Google search spike? It hit its peak during the Met Gala livestream, not after. Meaning while every camera in the world was pointed at the steps, the real eyeballs were typing one name into a search bar. Any smart strategist would have dropped a single, a teaser, a snippet, anything that night. But Nicki sat back. That's the move of someone who knows the demand will still be there next week. The opposition really thought showing up was the win. Showing up is mid pulling 600% of global attention without a ticket is iconic. Now flip the timeline. The Klay Thompson cheating chatter? It dropped right as Megan was about to enter Entrepreneur magazine press cycle. So while the hottest were online crying, the actual business move, that millionaire interview, was already locked and loaded. So Klay did this during the woman's biggest non-music press cycle of the year. That's terrible timing, brew. That's the move of someone who don't have a single advisor in his circle. Any smart person would have waited. But Klay isn't smart. He played himself into another woman's promo run. The Cardi B look has another layer most folks missed. Cardi previously announced, on her own platforms, that she wanted to reduce her BBL. Then she walks the Met Gala in a Marc Jacobs piece that literally looks like a body being inverted. So she's getting roasted for an artistic concept she basically previewed in her own commentary. The same fans hyping her are the ones who didn't connect that dot. So the visual was on theme. She just chose the wrong runway to test it. The Beyoncé double chin discourse happened the same 24-hour window as the Cardi B drag, the Rihanna catfish rumors, and Latto's chart debut. That's not a coincidence. That's the algorithm farming a humble the icon cycle. The re-beefin' rumor with ASAP, that black truck argument footage, it dropped after they spent 4 hours getting ready, leaving a high-pressure event with 2 kids at home. So everyone wants to call it a relationship implosion when it's actually called being tired. And Latto's chart entry, that number 90 debut on Billboard Hot 100 with Get Out of My Face featuring Glow, landed the same day Nicki's Spotify global #1 hit 20 consecutive days. The contrast is brutal. Latto's team really thought they had a moment. Bro, that's not a moment. That's a footnote. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Now check this out. Nobody's talking about the wording in Megan's entrepreneur quote. Zoom in on one phrase. I was forced to be independent. That word forced isn't a vulnerability flex. It's a shield. It's the framing of someone who wants you to know that every hot girl summer line was built on trauma she's not putting in the music. That single word reframes her entire catalog. And Klay really didn't catch the energy of the woman he was playing with? That's embarrassing. Zoom into the Nicki Google Trends data. That 100 interest score isn't just popularity. That's the saturation ceiling. You literally cannot score higher than 100. Meaning during that Met Gala window, no woman in rap could be searched more than her. That's a cap on culture itself. The girls who walked the carpet didn't just lose. They got lapped by the lady who stayed home in slippers. Forensic peek at the Cardi B fit. Forget the silhouette. Focus on the lace overlay choice. Lace traditionally signals romance, softness, bridal energy. Pair lace with a sculpted body horror silhouette, and you get cognitive dissonance. Your brain rejects it before it can process it. That's why the disapproval hit 66%. It wasn't ugly to people. It was uncomfortable. Marc Jacobs gambled on shock, and the algorithm punished it. Cardi's stylist team thought fashion, his art, was a get-out-of-jail-free card. Nah, you still gotta land the dismount. Now, the Rihanna footage. Forget they are arguing. Look at the body language. She's facing forward, his eye rolling and neck popping. That's not a couple in a fight. That's 2 people venting in the same direction about an external issue. That's a we just left the function and somebody acted up energy. The internet that decoded this as a breakup doesn't know what a 4-hour glam session followed by a packed event feels like. They are projecting. If you don't read body language, you don't get to narrate body language. And Latto's number 90? The forensic giveaway is the sample. Get Out of My Face leans on the Soulja Boy energy. Sampling a 2008 viral hit in 2026 isn't innovation. It's a cash pull. It's a song designed to trigger nostalgia algorithms, not capture new listeners. That's why it peaks low and won't climb. If Latto had half a smart strategist in the room, somebody would have said this is a meme record, not a chart record. Now let's see how the media covered this. The way different outlets framed this week tells you everything about who's pushing what narrative. Some blogs framed Beyoncé's photo edits as a Photoshop scandal, painting Mrs. Carter like she was committing a crime against femininity. Other outlets, especially the ones that lean Beehive, framed it as subtle photographer enhancement, basically what every A-list celebrity does. Same edits, two completely different temperatures. The double chin was just a cover charge to drive engagement. For Cardi, the major outlets ran with worst dressed of all time, while a couple of fashion-leaning blogs tried to frame the Marc Jacobs look as avant-garde commentary on body modification. Remember the BBL reduction reference? That's not what the mainstream sites are connecting. They are skipping the artistic intent and going straight to the dunk. Some Cardi defenders are screaming you don't get the art, but those are the same people who thought the platinum hair phase was a peak. Reach somewhere else, sis. For Nicki, mainstream outlets buried that Google Trends number under Met Gala carpet coverage. Notice that. The biggest cultural data point of the night, a 600% search surge from a non-attendee, got 2 paragraphs while a celebrity's dress got 2,000 words. That tells you who controls the front page narrative. Reference back to that 20-day Spotify reign, barely a headline outside the Stan blogs. The industry's quiet treatment of Nicki's wins is its own form of evidence. The Stefan Diggs case is the perfect example. TMZ-style outlets framed it as another celebrity dodges accountability. Sports blogs framed it as vindicated by jury. Then social media split the difference. The sad part is he definitely did get her. He wouldn't have offered $100,000 if he didn't. Same verdict. 3 completely different stories. The legal outcome is not guilty. That's the only verifiable receipt. But the public court? That one stays in session. Some folks are still defending Klay Thompson, saying Meg is playing victim for a press run. But those are the same people who said Tory Lattimore didn't really shoot her, and we know how that ended. The receipts don't lie even when the mainstream tries to spin them. But here's what nobody is saying. The mainstream is selling y'all a story this week. Nicki lost the Met Gala. Beyoncé is insecure. Cardi tried art. Megan is messy. Rihanna ASAP are over. Latto is winning. Pretty bow on a fake gift. Here's what they won't tell you. This entire week was a coordinated industry narrative flood designed to humble the women who don't play the gatekeeper game. That's the angle. Industry politics. Look at the pattern. Every woman in this story who is independent of the major label puppet structure got slandered, and every woman whose narrative the industry controls got cushioned. Nicki, who's been at war with Universal over masters and royalties, got buried under Met carpet content even though her search numbers ATE the entire night. Beyoncé, who's vertically integrated, owns Parkwood, controls her own machine, gets a manufactured double chin cycle to remind the public she's still aging like the rest of us. That's not journalism. That's a leash. Meanwhile, Latto, who's signed deep, got a She's Charting puff piece for a number 9 to debut that's literally a Soulja Boy sample. That's not a celebration. That's a label payola pump for a song everyone knows is mid. The industry needs Latto to look like a contender because they don't want the next generation of girls thinking independence is the cheat code. That's puppet behavior. Latto is a puppet, and the strings are showing. Now the Cardi situation. Cardi's the most fascinating one because the industry plays her both ways. They prop her with sponsored hits, then drop her in the worst-dressed graveyard the second she steps slightly off script. Why? Because she's the cautionary tale they need. They want every female rapper to look at Cardi and think if she can get torched this public, I better behave. That 66% disapproval rate didn't just happen organically. Stylists, fashion blogs, fan accounts. Those don't all wake up swinging in the same direction unless somebody with a budget pushed the talking point. That post? Dropped within hours of the carpet. That's coordinated. Megan Thee Stallion's cheating storyline is the biggest tell. Why is the Klay Thompson chatter going viral the same week her Entrepreneur magazine cover drops? You're telling me a sports-related cheating rumor and a major business profile aligned by accident? Nah. The industry has done this playbook before. We saw this same template used against Lauryn Hill, against Eve, against every woman who tried to expand outside the pop star lane. The script is, when a black woman starts diversifying her bag and her brand, flood her press with relationship messiness, so the only headline you can find is she's the heartbroken girl. It's a control mechanism. Klay isn't even the villain in this. The villain is the press cycle that won't let Megan be a businesswoman this week. Klay's just the disposable piece on the chessboard, and he's so dumb he doesn't know he's a pawn. Rihanna and ASAP's argument footage hit at the exact moment Fenty was announcing new launches. The internet got distracted from her empire and tuned into a 12-second car clip. 5 years from now we'll look back at this moment as another receipt of how the press tried to shrink Rihanna into just a girlfriend instead of one of the richest women in entertainment. That's not gossip. That's strategy. And the Stefan Diggs verdict, on the same week? That's the cherry. They needed a story to remind y'all that women's testimony doesn't matter as much as a viral dance video. That's not a coincidence either. That's an algorithmic week of humble the women, doubt the women, dunk on the women. This isn't about who looked best at the Met. This is about who's being watered down this week and who's being protected. Nicki is the threat. Bey is the threat. Megan diversifying is the threat. Rihanna's empire is the threat. Cardi acting outside the box is the threat. Latto being propped at number 90 is the receipt that the system rewards compliance and punishes independence. That's the playbook, and you're eating off the menu without reading the kitchen. And that's the truth they won't tell you. So what happens next? Here's what's most likely to happen. Within the next 30 days, Nicki's gonna drop something, a single, a feature, a snippet. And the same outlets that buried that 600% search surge are gonna sprint to publish Nicki returns. Headlines like they didn't ignore her all Met week. Watch what happens. The Bobs are gonna screenshot the silence in the U-turn and roast every blog that played coy. When she drops, the opposition is gonna look desperate pretending they were rooting for her the whole time. The silence is gonna hurt them more than any diss could. Mark my words, Megan Thee Stallion is about to pivot. That entrepreneur cover wasn't a one-off. That's the rebrand starting. She's gonna lean further into business, partnerships, and cause-driven press, and the Klay Thompson chapter is gonna age into a footnote. When she announces a venture or brand partnership in the next quarter, the same people who tried to make her the cheated-on girl of the week are gonna look like clowns. Klay is gonna be sitting in obscurity while she's signing 7-figure deals. He'll be a trivia question by next year. Who was that NBA dude Megan was with? That's the level of relevance loss coming for him. Now, if Beyoncé responds, if she drops one UN-edited photo, one UN-retouched studio shot, one natural light carousel, the entire double-chin discourse is over in 12 hours. The Hive is gonna torch every meme account that pushed the Photoshop angle. And if she stays silent, even better, because then the discourse rots on its own. Either way, Mrs. Carter wins. The opposition is not ready for Beyoncé who decides to engage, and they are not ready for Beyoncé who decides to ignore them. Lose-lose. Now if Cardi B comes back swinging on a next red carpet with a clean, executed, undeniable look, and history says she will, this Met Gala moment is gonna be reframed as her off-year. The same blogs that cooked her at 66% disapproval are gonna run Cardi bounces back headlines and pretend they didn't offer the smay. That's how the cycle works. We saw what Cardi did after the platinum hair phase. She came back harder. The opposition doesn't stand a chance when she locks in. Mark my words, the Rihanna and ASAP argument narrative is dead in 7 days. Once the next Fenty launch lands or one of those kids hits a milestone, that black truck footage will be archived under "Y'all were reaching." And if Ree wants to absolutely end the discourse, she drops the album rumor finally and watches the timeline go nuclear. The catfish jokes, the breakup rumors, gone overnight. The opposition is watching the culture move on without them. Latto's situation is the saddest forecast. That number 90 debut is the ceiling for that record. By the time the next Billboard cycle prints, Get Out of My Face is gonna slide off the Hot 100 entirely, and the team is gonna pretend the chart entry was the goal all along. When Nicki drops her next solo cut and parks it top 20 immediately, the contrast is gonna be unbearable. Latto's not ready for what's coming if Nicki decides this summer is hers. Latto is gonna be staring at the culture moving past her, and there's nothing she can do about it. Looking at the bigger picture, this week is gonna be remembered as the moment the industry's humble the women playbook got exposed in real time. 5 years from now, people will look back at this Met Gala cycle as the pivot point where fans started clocking the coordinated narrative attacks. The opposition, the puppet outlets, the algorithm-farmed disrespect blogs, the manufactured scandal cycle, is gonna lose credibility piece by piece. The audience is getting smarter. The stands are screen recording. The receipts don't get deleted anymore. And the women in this story? Their legacies are about to get louder. Nicki's chart history just got a global #1 stamped on it. Beyoncé's empire keeps printing. Megan's pivoting into business. Rihanna's billionaire status untouchable. Cardi will recover because she always does. Whatever happens next, one thing's clear. The opposition already lost. If you made it this far, you already know this is Melanin Scope Media, where we don't follow narratives, we break them. Hit like, subscribe, and stay locked in. Because what's coming next? Trust me, they don't want you to hear it.